Today I'm going to talk about something that a lot of you have on your bikes, and that is threaded bottom brackets and the issues that you can find when you're looking at your bottom bracket and you see there's a little paint crack around the bottom and you wonder what's going on there. Is it starting to fail? So today I'm going to take you through some of the reasons why this happens and how to self-diagnose. So hopefully today's video will help you. To start with, I'm sure many of you are familiar with these threaded bottom brackets here. Let me first start by saying that you'll notice that a lot of the brand manufacturers are using press fit bottom brackets now. Very few of them have the threaded versions on, and there are many reasons why. There could be a design issue with regard to limitations they have on the frame that causes them to use threaded bottom brackets. But there is a more sinister reason why bottom brackets, threaded bottom brackets, particularly aluminium, are now being phased out, and that is the relationship between expandable alloys and carbon fiber, which doesn't expand. So that's your first problem. You've got a fluted end of the bottom bracket which is bonded to the outside of the wall of the carbon fiber. Now over time, because the heat and the contraction on this particular area and the forces applied to by your pedal stroke causes that or portions of that bond between the aluminium and the carbon to fail. And when that happens, one of the telltale signs is to find a little hairline crack in the paint. So the paint, being a two-pack paint, is very fragile and it is easy for it to crack before anything else does. So that is a really helpful way of looking for any potential movement in these areas. I mean, that doesn't just go for the bottom bracket, that goes for aluminium dropouts or any areas where aluminium components are bonded into a carbon area and then painted over. You generally find the paint is never quite happy there and it will eventually crack with time. One of the ways you can identify whether that component is actually come away from the carbon is if, for example, on the bottom bracket, the entire circumference of the bottom bracket area in the paintwork is cracked all the way around, is generally an indication that that component has come away. There are some cases where the paint is only cracked in, say, a quarter of that circumference, but in which case it could be starting to fail because it shouldn't crack there anyway. But as I said before, sometimes if there's a lot of expansion taking place in this area, that the paint can't necessarily maintain its flexibility there and it hardens up over time, but it doesn't necessarily mean the thing has failed. But you normally tell if there's a squeak or your pedals are loose, whether you can see any movement when you look close by to it. So have a good look at your bottom bracket, especially threaded bottom brackets, and look at the health of the circumference of that fit into the carbon. And if you see a hairline crack in the paint or in the lacquer surface, take a broomstick if you want. That's quite useful, something wooden, something soft that doesn't damage the threads. Shove that in and get real close to it. If you've got a little magnifying glass or something, or you'll use your phone on magnification, and just have a look and see if you get any movement at that paint crack. If you do, take it into your carbon repairer, let them deal with it sooner than later. And the reason is that if you allow it to continue, the carbon does not like abrasion against a harder material. And I say harder with caution, a more abrasion resistant material like aluminium. Carbon turns to powder with very little effort. And the more the pedal stroke you apply, the more potential you've got of overlising the hole that it's supposed to fit in rather tightly into. And then you get issues when that entire area has to be rebuilt in carbon. It can get a lot more expensive. But in most cases, if you catch it early, get it into your carbon repairer, let them have a look at it, let them see if they can simply bond the sleeve back in again for the next 5 years of its lifetime, by which time you probably got another bike or something else will fail. So hopefully that helped you. And yeah, next time I'll be talking about press fit bottom brackets and how you look out for issues there and what can and can't be repaired. So I'll see you next time.